We got some problems. 42-35, Ohio State over Indiana. Let's get into it. Okay. Uh, where do we start? That was an interesting game. A very odd game. Again, this Ohio State team gets up big on an opponent and lets them hang around. And this time, they almost messed around and lost the game. There are clear flaws on this team. This team may make the college football playoff, but this is a team that has some issues. Has some issues in pass protection, has some issues in the secondary, and that's clear. But it's also confusing at the same time when every single game this year there has been a half of football where they shut the team down. They shut Rutgers down in the first half. They shut Penn State down in the first half. They shut Indiana down for the first half. No team has scored, I think, over 7 points. You'd have to fact check me on that, but I don't think any team has scored over 7 points in the first half on Ohio State. And then what the hell happens in the second half? The only thing I can go back to is the secondary. You have Michael Penix Jr., who, by the way, is the real deal. I want people to understand that. Yes, Ohio State's secondary should not be giving up 500 yards through the air. But he's incredible. Gets the ball out fast. He's got a quick release. And he's accurate more often than not. So I expect next year when they go to Bloomington, that's going to be it's going to be a big time showdown, because I think Michael Penix he's the real deal. But you go into this game knowing a couple things. You know that IU likes to throw the ball. They can't run the ball. And you know that they love to blitz. Not being able to stop the pass obviously is concerning, but when you're up 35-7 and you know that's all they're going to do is throw the football, I do expect to give up some throws, but there were so many blown coverages. You know, all of Indiana's big plays that they got were blown coverages. I don't know if it's the players not understanding their assignment or Kerry Combs running too complicated of a scheme. I really don't know. There's a lot of dropping in and out of coverages. There's a lot of guys rotating after the snap. And you saw a lot of times there was confusion pre-snap and right as soon as the ball was hiked about who was going where, or who needed to cover who, or who needed to cover where. I think it comes down to two positions, honestly. I think Marcus Hooker is not cutting it. It's pretty glaring. I think a lot of the blown coverages, I mean, I'm just going to say what I saw. I could be wrong, but looked like a lot of the blown coverages were on him. I know the one to Freifogel, the second one with back in the end zone, that's just kind of like a scramble drill, and you're the back end safety. You're as deep as the deepest. There's no reason that man should get behind you on a scramble drill. You need to be playing with everything in front of you. And there were a couple times, I think when Taraji Mitchell down the sideline, he thought that was zone. I don't see, that's where you don't know if that was actually the call. And he had safety help over the top, which was Marcus Hooker's guy. Is that Taraji Mitchell's mistake, or is that Marcus Hooker's? Were they playing man there, or did he think he had safety help over top? Because that was kind of just like a bump and sit. So Mitchell was playing zone, and he was the only one playing zone versus the safety. And Marcus Williams, and the slot corner, the Cam Brown injury is starting to kind of rear its ugly head. You don't want to. I really hate to bash the kids, but I'm not really trying. But when you're at Ohio State and you're in the program for 3-4 years, especially at a position like DB where they're just churning out guys that go into the league, you kind of expect it to be the same, but you also have to think there's a reason why that guy hasn't been on the field yet. There's a reason why a true freshman like Okudah plays over him, or you're like, oh, that's NFL talent, but there's a reason guys are leaping over him. There's a reason guys are playing over him, and it's starting to show. He had some really bad plays in the slot, and I don't think the two outside corners are playing bad. I think Sevyn Banks is probably playing as strong as anybody besides that Penn State game, where he looked like he was playing pretty soft coverage. I know Sean got the pick six, which was huge. It was monumental. Like, that won them the game. Like, you didn't think that it would, or that was the difference, but that was the difference in the game. So that was big for his confidence, but I feel like he's not playing as physical. I think when they're throwing the ball up in the air or they're attacking him, it's almost like he's trying not to get a penalty. He feels like he's always going to get a penalty on him. I don't want to say he's playing scared, but he looks hesitant out there. So the secondary is an issue, obviously. But at the same time, they were throwing the ball the whole first half, and they got 7 points. So I really don't know. I mean, obviously there's kind of issues coverage-wise, communication issues. They're going to get back to the drawing board, I hope, on that, or maybe start playing these young guys. There's a lot of guys, Legend Cavazos, Lathan Ransom, Ryan Watts. There's highly touted young guys that are fighting for playing time, and who knows, if you're getting torched for 500 yards, what does it hurt to bring somebody else out there? But the other side of the ball, the offensive line, their pass pro has been very poor, minus the Penn State game. I feel like the Penn State game, they were very impressive. And I think it's the interior line. I think Josh Myers and Harry Miller are having communication issues. You knew Indiana liked the blitz. You knew Indiana liked the blitz up the middle. They blitzed the middle what felt like every other play. And there were multiple times in the game where Josh Myers would take the snap, not even get a hand on anybody, not a single hand, and there's a free rusher coming straight up, like over his face. Like, he's looking this way, and the guy's he's looking right, guy's coming to his left. That's communication issues, which we were talking about with the secondary. He's thinking he has help, that Harry Miller's picking that guy up, and he has someone else. So that was concerning, and Justin Fields was under pressure all game long. That doesn't take away from the crazy, baffling mistakes that I've seen him make. That first throw, okay, they go two safeties, they roll one up, bring one down. After the snap, he thinks he could fit it in there. Okay. The two were atrocious. The next two were just atrocious. Getting sacked, falling down, and just throwing up prayers. That's uncharacteristic. That is something we've never seen from this guy, ever. We know he likes to hold on the ball. We know he likes to make plays because he feels like he can get out of everything. Which, there's times where he does, like the long run where he got down to the 2-yard line. That was all him. But just to see him throw it into coverage like that and just to try to make these desperation plays when you're up. Like, I can understand they're down, trying to get back in the game, but you're down. I mean, you're winning the game by multiple scores. It felt like he was pressing a lot. That's a little concerning for me with him. Is I feel like he's always had kind of issues with the blitz, especially up the middle. I mean, obviously up the middle. Clemson last year did that, forced him into 2 interceptions, even though the last one, not his fault. But he needs to throw hot on those blitzes, and he's just not either seeing it fast enough or he's just not making the right read. So it's hard. This game was really hard. I know. Do I think Indiana is a good football team? Of course. Do I think they have good receivers and a great quarterback? Absolutely. But that 35-7 score, which it was at one point, that felt like that's what it should have been. Yes, Indiana fumbled going in to score, which would have made it a 21-14 game, I think. That was huge momentum because Ohio State gets the ball back, goes down, scores, goes down. That's a huge swing. That's a huge swing. And Indiana dropping a fourth and 2 wide open pass. I think Indiana is very good. I think Indiana might either be the second or third best team in the conference. Do I think they are only 7 points, only a touchdown difference from this Ohio State team? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ohio State played like shit. They know they played like shit. I don't think you're going to see Justin Fields throw multiple interceptions again. I really don't. He knows he has to play better. The communication on the back end of the defense and the offensive line needs to tighten up, or these guys are either going to choke one away in the Big Ten championship, dare I say, make it interesting with Michigan, because Michigan seems to feel like they found their quarterback, or they're going to get their doors blown off in the playoffs when you play somebody like Alabama or a Clemson, where they have way better quarterbacks, way better receivers than this Indiana team. So it's also their 4th game of the year. Let's remember that. And they've practiced like 500 times. This is their 4th game. There's only 3 games left in the season. That's what's crazy. But they're 4-0. Chance to go 5-0. That's all you can ask for. On Illinois. Weird game, but it's over. Ohio State gets the win. Got to tighten some things up, because right now this is not a playoff team, and I think everybody on that team would tell you that. The picks went 1-3. Ugh. Clemson game got canceled, so that one doesn't count. I told you about Penn State just rolling over, so that was an easy one. UC could have covered, should have been 2-2. They had the ball at the 1 yard line, smartly ran the clock out instead. But it was a weird week all around college football. So yeah, there's that. I don't have anything else to add. Weird weekend. Weird weekend. I'll see y'all Friday. Peace.